Hey guys, I'm going to get into one of my absolute favorite bands of the 1990s, the Flaming Lips. I think they're really inspiring me right now because you know what I've kind of gone through? I've gone through the ultimate evolution of kind of wanting to be a psychedelic rock star to not wanting to be one at all. I think the Beatles were representing my positive side, but they're still one of the best bands ever because they always come back transcendently. Because it's just, but I lend it more in the sense of give it to them rather than try to beat that. I don't put, playing bass all the time. Just take them in as they're the wise musicians for laying it out, and I'm just a copycat basically. And I think those are just kind of the essence of like the 90s perspective on psychedelic rock, and it literally has its own language entirely. It's a lot more of like just getting straight to that kind of place, but without, I don't know, a little more loud, a little more punk, kind of taking in a lot of that punk influence that come. And it's just literally, it turns out like a few of these albums are really freaking as good. So yeah, man, I mean, I love these guys. They're quite amazing. We did some quite joyful music while being very melancholic as well. It's like melancholic happiness, I would say. Transmissions from the Satellite Heart came out in the year 1993. And yeah, that's a pretty great album. And I'll say this is one of those albums where I've never sat down and really looked at all the song titles. I just listen to this while I'm driving around sometimes because it just. I know the song "She Don't Use Jelly." That was the big hit off of it. That was a really good music video too. Some crazy riffs going on here, but they really started building up here. I think a lot of these songs were just kind of building up to what they would do with one of their best albums ever. One of the best albums that came out in the 90s. Clouds Taste Metallic, which came out in 1995. Which is literally just like a 90s Sgt. Pepper's literally happening right here, but better, I think, because this is more loud and just more excited. And it sounds like very joyful, but like sarcastic, playful humor is kind of coming out of this. Like wonderful melodies all the same. Like, I mean, these guys were just really doing something different entirely here. Songs like Brainville and When You Smile, like they're just having fun. It feels like psychedelic explorations of the fetus with the needles. That's one that just kind of explodes basically. As well as Kim's Watermelon Gun, Lightning Strikes the Postman. It's just they're uniquely whimsical. I think that's a whimsical tone that lives in this album that really makes it so strong. Almost every single song here is kind of its own masterpiece. It feels like. Except for maybe like they punctured my yoke. That was okay. Everything else of This Year Giraffe, that's amazing. That's like the wonder in it of just like joyful side of it without being too overbearing. It's just the laid back, Christmas at the Zoo. I mean, very sunny. Sounds like a sunny day at the beach. That's literally the feeling I get. I don't the aesthetic that's coming back to me is like that's where the ultimate place is. Like just a wonderful extended period of time while at the beach. Just having a great time. Yeah, I mean, I really love everything going on here. Like this is perfect, like Midwestern indie rock. That's kind of what this all is. Like, that's kind of the feeling that it comes back to in the end. It's just that Midwestern emo. It's perfect, man. Flaming Lips are the best ever at doing this. And it sounds like Bad Days. I mean, that's a transcendent song. It's quite perfect in every single way. So I love this album. I love this band. And then it builds up in 1999 with Soft Bulletin. Best album they made. Yeah, this is genius. This is almost like an Abbey Road happening here. This is about 1999. Again, a lot of art was going mad crazy. Soft Bulletin was one that was really on to a lot of this, but they were like looking at joy and melancholy. I think that would be one of the healthiest perspectives. Like it's like a maturely youthful perspective, much like the film Magnolia. Like it literally represents a lot of that, I think. But I mean, this is quite a masterpiece because I mean, all these songs are just really masterpieces. Like the Race for the Prize is just perfect melody, absolutely. It's amazing social commentary all throughout it. It's just perfect. Perfect drift altogether. All these songs, like feeling yourself degenerate, just very spacey. Suddenly everything has changed. Like that just makes you think of intense melancholy, but getting past the melancholy. That's the message that just kind of subtly lives in this album. Just getting past the melancholy and just kind of getting straight to the point of just like that buzz of I'm actually feeling all right, kind of feeling. Yeah, a lot of these songs like The Gash, I mean, just really playful. This is an album you just gotta play it loud. I mean, it's just and literally I've heard a lot of people say it's like a Pet Sounds kind of thing too. And yeah, it is like a Pet Sounds. It's like kind of a goodbye to innocence. And this is like a perfect sounding album that does take me to a lot of like innocent places mentally, but it kind of talks about like a sadness that it's over, but a joy because it happens. That's the outlook I have in my life. It's very I'm nothing like Dr. Seuss as a director, but I love his outlook on. I don't really care for his books myself. Way too like I think for a young age, but I think that he has the saying that it's just like don't be sad because it's over, smile because it happened. I 100% live. I think I subconsciously absorb a lot of that, and I hear that with like the Flaming Lips here. I don't know. It's just it sounds like they're happy because it happened, although they're also just kind of descending right into it, like it's something that's crazy. I think they just really had one of the best ever. I think outlooks on modern psychedelic rock. I think now that this in the 90s, I feel certainly somewhere in the 2020s something big will happen. Something like this modern psychedelic rock resurgence. Now we've learned all the rules, and it's just like I don't know. It'll come. I think somehow. So I don't really believe in it much, but it's just all the same. I just maybe just perceive just like well they but all these bands kind of did it best, and all the same. But I think they laid out something absolutely perfect. I feel like there's certain people are going to end up going grabbing it and going for something like this. Again, it's already kind of a lot of groundbreaking stuff happening low key. And then you got Yoshino Battles in 2002. And yeah, that's a pretty good album. It's not one of my absolute favorites. It's kind of like it was a big one in 2002 with the NDC. And that's a year where a lot of interesting albums were coming out. Like I felt like a lot of anxious energy was living in a lot of stuff. And this is like kind of calming all that down, it feels like, in a lot of ways. It's a pretty good album. I mean, there's no way. I think that they're easily better as a 90s band. But I mean, this is still pretty good all the same. I think songs like Fight Test and Do You Realize is the masterpiece. Oh, yeah, that's a perfect love song. I mean, just all this stuff just sounds like it has a wonderful melody and lovely harmonies to it, but ultimately sounds like it's kind of like lonely, isolated too. Because that's the dark side of like a lot of psychedelic rock. And the Flaming Lips kind of all these years in the 2010s, like there's like an intense, and I've kind of learned this as a bit of a, I kind of had a bit of a like half sarcastic, half serious attempt, going for making a soundtrack for my film Fallacy. And I think I learned that I was going for a bit of a psychedelic rocker kind of outlook, but I kind of found the depressing side of it, after a while. I think that this band sort of feels like that in a lot of ways. A lot of psychedelic rock kind of turns out, even like I was talking about this. It feels like some psychedelic bands like fade out because it becomes too sensitive. I think it's because you're literally honing in on this all the time, this level of innocence, and that's like too sensitively, harshly against just anything else. And it can be hard. It's like I feel like these guys probably just wanted to keep up, like just live their lives a little more than just always focusing on making the most transcendent music. So yeah, there's that level of exhaustion, that comes out of it. I think it's probably harder if you're not going for minimalism. So that's the thing. I think that's why minimalism seriously had to come around, kind of warp this in a lot of ways into something that's just more low key in the end. So yeah, they're a great band. I do recommend them to anybody because they're I mean, it feels as universal as the Beatles, and it feels like a similar impact. The '90s perspective on it, particularly to just, I mean, if anything, just Clouds made Metallica and Soft Bullets. Clouds Metallica is just perfect. I mean, yeah, I recommend this stuff strongly. It's quite amazing.